Hello Taurus, welcome to your weekly tarot reading here on Dove and Serpent Tarot. This is for the week of February 5th through 11th. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, so I ask you to connect directly with these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond what I'm telling you. Okay? Remember that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. So here's some really hard-working Prince of Pentacles energy. I think that is really a good way to start the reading, especially for you, Taurus. So let's lay out the rest of our Dove and Serpent spread. And this is, of course, going to include a mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. We're going to leave that right there, and we're not going to look at it until the very end of the reading. So stick around to the end. And we're going to see how that might, tie the reading together or give us the confirmation that we're looking for at the very end of things. So, I want to make an announcement. Next week, we're going to have the overhead camera, so you'll be able to see what I'm looking at here. And what I see now really is a lot of court cards. There's a lot of court cards, and then there is, let's see, some fire, some water, a little bit of air, and a little bit of earth. Not a lot of the air and earth. It's mostly like fire and the water energy, but it's mostly court cards, to be honest with you. So I think that your life right now is one where there are a lot of people around you. There are a lot of people involved in things. It could be that you have either a big family, a big group of friends, a lot of coworkers, a lot of employees. A lot of people are surrounding you this week, and you need to deal with them all kind of individually. You know, it's like for some reason there's a lot of association that needs to happen, and I think the reason why we don't see any of the air energy here, the swords, is because you don't want to. Okay, I think you kind of just want to be left alone this week, but there's all these people around you, kind of asking things of you, making demands on you. The first card that we had was this Prince of Pentacles, discs, coins, diamonds. You're someone who is very hardworking. I think that you have a really strong work ethic. I think that you're someone that has probably started working at a very young age. You know, maybe as soon as you were able to, you got a job and you started earning money. I think that you've probably had a steady job or many steady jobs throughout your life. You know what I mean? I don't really know if I see you as like a career person, someone that's been with the same company. Like there are people in my family have been with one company for like 20 years. I don't understand it. I'm not that way. But I feel like you're the same way. Like you've had a job your whole life, but it's been different things. You know, you kind of, maybe you explore one particular career for a time. You get to a certain point and you say, all right, I'm ready for something else now. And it's not because you're lazy, not because you give up or it's too hard. No, I think you just aren't challenged enough, to be honest with you. I think that you have, you really immerse yourself in your work. You know what I mean? It's not like just a strong work ethic or you need to have a career or a job to pay the bills. No, I think that you, especially when there are other things going on in your life, I think you really focus on work. You kind of, in some ways, use it as an escape, you know, and I think we all do that, to be honest with you. I think when there are other aspects of our life that we just need a break from, don't want to deal with at the moment, or we just need some kind of a diversion or a release from that, a lot of us focus on work, right? And I think the earth signs especially, and especially Taurus. And because you're a fixed earth sign, I feel like you've really been, enduring the work life for many, many years. Like since you could, I think, get a job, you've had a job. And with the kind of air element in this Prince of Pentacles, I feel like you've maybe had several, or you'll stay somewhere. As soon as it's not challenging, not fulfilling anymore, you're out of there, and you do something else. But there's not a large gap in between. Does that make sense? So you're a very hard worker, even though you don't have any kind of ties, or you feel no real sense of obligation to stay with one company forever. You don't see the need for that. And honestly, I don't either. Don't tell my employer that. So you're kind of that person, that you'll stick as soon as things kind of stop being win-win, you're moving on. You know when to kind of leave the room. You know what I mean? You're not going to stay beyond your usefulness in certain places. And you don't want to keep a job that's not really useful to you anymore. I think you like the challenge. You like always learning and growing. And when things get too easy and it's not fulfilling for you anymore, you move on. I don't want to spend too much time here, but I think that this is kind of, for some reason, this is at the forefront of your life right now. Okay, and it could be maybe you're at the end of this work, this career phase of your life. It could be that this is kind of wrapping up, and we're beginning to wonder, well, okay, what's next? If I'm not going to go into a new job, a new career field, and kind of do this again, what am I going to do? Because I think this is what you focused on. This is what you like to do. This is what you've been doing for a long time. So now, if you don't have this, what's going on? What are we going to do? Okay. Crossing your path this week, we have this really beautiful Empress energy. Okay. So this could be a situation where you are going to come upon something, or something's going to be presented to you, or you're going to make this choice. But however it arrives in your life, it's going to be an opportunity for some real creativity, for you to really focus now, maybe not on the work, the kind of series of careers, that you've had, but maybe to focus on something that is creative, something that, and I don't want to seem like I'm implying that our work life or what we do for money is not creative. Okay, I think we are creative in our employment, in our jobs, our careers, all the time. But I feel like this is something outside of your career, outside of what you do for money. Okay, this is some kind of a manifestation of your innermost desires. What are you really in love with in life? And how can you make that real in front of you? How can you make it appear? How can you manifest that? Okay, so that's a real, not creativity like, oh, you drew a pretty picture. Maybe it'll be that, but this is more creation than creativity. And so I kind of feel like we're wondering now how to transition into this period of our lives, because maybe this work thing's done. Maybe we're getting toward the end of the career portion of our lives. And so we're starting to wonder, okay, well, what am I going to do? How do I fulfill myself? How do I find meaning and purpose and satisfaction? Well, the how I don't know yet, but I know that you will. And I know that it's going to be something that is going to be a manifestation of your innermost loves and your innermost desires. What does your heart really yearn for, and what does it really want? I think that's what you're going to be creating. It's going to be a creation, an ongoing creation for you, okay? We're going to come back to that, of course, and we're going to reference that throughout the reading. But I want to go to the recent past, because I see this fire sign person in your life. This is, to me, kind of feeling like there was a new addition to your family, maybe. I feel like a really kind of young and really vibrant, like new life. So maybe someone had a kid, grandkid, great-grandkid, maybe a niece or a nephew or something like that. But I feel like there's a new life, a new flame somewhere in your life, and a new vibrant kind of, happy baby somewhere, right? This could be, it may not be a new addition to the family. It could be just someone that's quite younger. It maybe not a new addition, but maybe like a child or a grandchild, still fairly young. But I think that in the recent past, it's been sort of a new addition for you, right? It could be an actual new birth in the family. But I think overall, generally, it's someone that is new in your life now. So it could be that you've just made contact with some relative or some, kind of nieces or nephews or something that you haven't seen in a while. Something like that, because I feel like this energy is coming in recently. Maybe last week, the week before, maybe a year ago. Relatively recently, there was this energy coming in. It feels like it's a new birth. Okay, but maybe not. But it feels that way to me. And I think that's giving you a little bit of reason to kind of think, okay, well, gosh, what do I want to do with my life now? Because maybe just this kind of work, career focus, this, kind of career after career after career is just not doing it anymore. You're just not feeling the satisfaction or the fulfillment anymore, So anyway, that kind of new fire energy feels like they are now in your life and they need your attention. You know what I mean? So that's one of these people that are demanding things from you, that want something from you. They want your time. They want your love, They want to play games with you and have fun and spend time together. So that, I think, is giving you some reasons to kind of say, gosh, maybe I need to kind of think about the future a little bit and rethink what I want to do with my life, with my time now. That, again, maybe we're getting toward the end of our career phase of life, that career kind of stage. Well, where to go next? I think we'll go beneath everything with this 3 of Wands. This is your virtue. This is your sense of who you are. This is kind of like, I feel like your identity has been wrapped up in your careers, in your work life, right? And again, I don't think it's been the same career, the same job. I think it's been a series of new challenges that you embark, and that's your identity. You really do feel like you become the work that you're doing, and that it's a representative of who you are. Okay, and this is part of that strong work ethic. This is your self-respect, your dignity, and your strength of character. So what I'm feeling like is the closer we get to the end of this career phase of our life, the more we start to feel like our identity is slipping away. Well, who am I now? If I'm not this hardworking person, always earning, always focused on work and being successful and being strong and, being an example and working, that kind of person, then who are we? And I think part of this creation is creating a new identity for yourself or learning how all of the work that you've done in the past. Because look, and we're getting that overhead camera, okay? I promise that. This Earth card, this Prince of Pentacles, is right in the middle of all of these court cards and this fire energy and this Empress energy. So there's a lot going on, and it's kind of all centered on this Prince of Pentacles, this Earth card right in the middle. So this Earth card is being influenced by this kind of younger, newer life, maybe the new addition to the family. And we're going to see these other court cards here. Like, well, for one, let's just go up here to this Queen of Cups, okay? I wonder if there's somebody also in your life that it could be your spouse, your mate, it could be your best friend, it could be whoever the closest person to you is, right? That's your age. Maybe this person is also kind of inspiring you to make some changes or to focus on other things. You know what I mean? Like this person has some kind of a draw on you that they need something emotionally from you, right? I think this person, this new life, this new addition, this person needs something from you just energetically, right? They need you to try to keep up with them as they're running around the yard or whatever. Makes me smile because I have a 2-year-old. But this person needs something a little bit more, a little deeper, a little more emotional from you. Okay? And I think it feels like a spouse or something to me. It could be a sibling. It could be a parent even. But they need something more related to, it feels kind of more somber, right? They need some support. They need some emotional closeness with you. because of whatever's going on in your life, their life. And so this is the other demand that's on you. Okay? And I feel like you're a very emotional person, a very connected person, a very compassionate person. It may come out in this kind of maybe a tough love, maybe a very practical way. I don't know that you just break down into tears over things, but you feel things very deeply. But I think it comes out in a very practical way. Like you like to solve the problem. You like to do the work and do the heavy lifting. And that's how you show you care. Does that make sense? And this person needs something deeper from you. They need you to kind of shed a tear and be vulnerable with them. Okay, so this is the emotional draw on you. And I think it's all happening because there's this, you're kind of headed towards, if you're not already in, you're headed towards this transitional period in your life where you're going to have to rethink, what's your identity? Who are you? What is it that you're committed to? What are your principles? What is it that means something to you? And who do you want to be? What is your identity going to be now? And that's this act of creation. And this could, again, literally be like a creative thing. You're going to start doing pottery or something. But this is the act of creation, of creating ourselves, creating who are we going to be in the next act of our life, right? What are we going to look like? What are we going to believe in? What are we going to do? And how are we going to manifest that? Okay, and I think all of these things, all of these people in your life that are kind of needing something from you are giving you a little bit of pause. You're starting to they're making you think about this a little bit. And again, with the lack of air energy, we have a little bit of air. We'll get to that. But with the general lack of air energy, you're someone that really doesn't like to talk about that or think about that kind of stuff. You're kind of a strong silent type, right? You'd rather work, you'd rather show people things, you'd rather communicate through physical efforts, through doing the work, doing the heavy lifting, and the physical actions, rather than shedding the tear, rather than, communicating. And I find that in myself too. When I have to talk about something emotional, that's when the waterworks start. Just talking about it kind of uncorks the emotions, and I think you're similar in that way. Okay. If you've been a follower of the channel, you know that sometimes I get a little choked up talking about stuff. It's been known to happen. I don't know that I've actually shed a tear yet, but I've come very close in these readings. Some of these get really deep, Anyway, the immediate future, we see another court card. This, I think, is a move that you're making. Okay? I think this is representing you really taking that next step, taking the initiative to to put your heart out there, to be vulnerable, to show people who you are, to make the moves, not to just to show people, but to show yourself, to really open yourself up and begin this act of creation. Okay? So I think that this is a real a move that you're making that's going to be a little different than the usual. Okay, you're going to do something a little bit out of your lane to try to explore some of this energy a little bit. Okay, and this is the Knight of Cups, and I think that you're making that move. You've got your offering out, you've got your kind of heart in your hands, and you're trying something. You're going to be vulnerable and you're going to try it. I don't know what it is. We'll find out. Let's move over here to the Path of the Serpent. Maybe that'll give us some clues or some ideas. I don't know why I always move the cards over. I have to be better about this, especially when we get that overhead cam, so that everyone can see what we're looking at here. So on the Path of the Serpent, before we get here, I just want to say these tarot cards are always correct. You never pull an incorrect card. I don't care who you are or what channels you watch. But as the messenger, as the interpreter, I don't always know how to attribute each of these cards to your life specifically. Okay? And that's why I ask you to connect with the energy, connect with the images, and use your own intuition. Okay? I think that'll help us all out. We'll have a much better time here. Your general energy, 3 of Swords. This is why you don't like to talk about it. This is why you are the strong silent type. This is exactly what I already said. I kind of spilled the beans on that already. About when you start to talk about something that's emotional, that's a little vulnerable, that's a little sensitive, it uncorks the emotions, and then you try to prevent that, right? You're someone who would rather not talk about it, because once you get going, then come the waterworks. It uncorks that emotion. And I don't know exactly why that's the case with you. I don't really know why that's the case with myself, probably from the way I was raised, something. So it might be the same with you. It could be that talking about sensitive subjects, talking about emotional subjects, brings us back to a time when we felt very, very emotional as a child, and we couldn't express that. It's like we're talking about this current emotional situation now, but it's almost like by proxy, we're finally able to talk about that emotional situation from when we were a kid. So it's almost like the kid in us is now talking about that emotional situation for them way back in the day, as we're doing it now in the present. Does that make sense? I know it sounds a little weird, right? But I believe that. I believe that we're we're fulfilling something that we didn't get to in the past through this present situation, and all those emotions come out. And that's why you don't want to do it. And I understand that. And with the Three of Swords here, it is basically like, by having this conversation or by thinking these things, we're going to be reliving all of the emotional, all of the trauma, all of the sadness that we've ever experienced. And then it's all going to come out. So it's kind of counterintuitive, because if we would just talk about things more, then all that emotional water wouldn't get stored up and just be waiting for us to uncork it, right? If we just let it out a little at a time, day to day throughout our life, we're never going to have to worry about this uncorking. And I don't know how to describe it better, so we're going to have to live with the uncorking. So it's kind of counterintuitive, and I think that's where talk therapy really has its moments to shine, because it's like a gradual relief of the pressure so that it doesn't build up. Because it builds up and builds up and builds up, and then we have these moments where it just there's that outburst of emotion. So if we just let out a little at a time, or let it out as it comes, then there won't be this buildup of pressure, right? But anyway, I think that's kind of how you operate, certainly how I operate most of the time too. Even though I'm not a Taurus. The next card that we see is the Wheel of Fortune card. This is a lot of faith, hope, and trust. This is a lot of Jupiter energy. This, I think, is going to be some real synchronicities in your life that are going to encourage you to do this, to make this, to begin having these conversations, and to begin thinking about and exploring the possibilities about the next phase of your life. Okay? And I think that this really is going to be in the form of omens and signs and symbols and coincidences, and really just like when you're doing the right things, it's like the universe is going to sparkle. The universe is going to smile back at you, right? And when you're kind of not on the right path, maybe the universe is going to get a little bit more dim. You know what I mean? It's just, you're going to get this feeling, this things are going to have a particular aura about them when you know you're on the right path. It's almost like if you're playing a game. I don't know if anybody even plays video games anymore, but the way you're supposed to go is always kind of illuminated, right? Whatever door you're supposed to walk through in the game always has a little bit of an aura around it, right? So we kind of know where to go. At least video games used to be that way. I don't know now. It's kind of the same thing in life, I feel. I think that the way that's meant for us is going to be the way that just has a little bit more sparkle to it than the rest. A little bit more intuition, like aiming us there. Feel some kind of push in a certain direction. And that's this Jupiter energy that really has your best interest at heart, but is also a pretty stern figure, pretty stern energy, right? So if you're straying from your path, you'll know it. And if you're on your path, you're going to sense that extra sparkle. Okay. Now, the next card is this Justice or Adjustment card. I think this is in some ways the the balance between your work life and your personal life. This is also the balance between your kind of hardworking attitude and your soft, emotional, kind of vulnerable vibe, you know? And I think that you're really going to be looking for this balance. I think that this is part of the creation now that we're talking about. You're creating, who are you going to be? What is your identity? What are you going to be doing? What are you going to look like? What are you going to feel? What is your inspiration going to be? All of these things. I think we're looking for balance and harmony and equilibrium. I think also that this is your karma. I think you've put in so much work, so much hard work in your life that you've set yourself up, even if not financially, spiritually, karmically, you've set yourself up now for something in return. All of that hard work, all of your kind of strong, silent energy is leading you somewhere. It has a payoff, right? You can now kind of take what you've earned. You can kind of like cash in your chips, and you can go for this harmony. You can go into the more creative or emotional or vulnerable sides of yourself, because I think you've been in this Prince of Pentacles mode for so long that you deserve kind of the opposite in a way, or the complement to that. So I feel like you're looking for that, and that's where you're going to find, I think, a lot of fulfillment, is trying to find the complement to your typical energy, or just how your life has been. Find what's been missing. Find what you need to complement that energy that you've had, that vibe that you've had, that identity that you've had. And, I think this is also a real sense of justice and fairness in you, and that goes with your work ethic and all of this. And part of you may feel like if you take this time for yourself to be creative, to explore your identity, explore your kind of spiritual side, your soul, all of that stuff, that maybe you would be acting irresponsibly, or that you would be like not letting people down, but that you would be being unfair to other people, because you might feel that it would be selfish of you to do that, and that's not fair to everyone else. But I think what this card's really saying here is that you've been unfair to yourself if you've been ignoring this other side of you, this emotional, creative, spiritual side to yourself. If you've been so focused on work that you've not experienced the other side of things, that's more unfair to you. So by you being a little selfish now, or planning a little bit more of a selfish life in the future, right? A little bit more including your complementary energy, a little bit of that selfishness is just going to correct the balances. Right? You're not being completely selfish and unfair, and that would go against your principles, I think. But what you're doing is just restoring the balance. And I think that's a way for you to move forward. The final card on the path of the Serpent is this Eight of Wands. I feel a real quick energy coming. I think that maybe you are getting close to this next phase of your life, this kind of post-career kind of era for you. And I think it's coming up faster than you realize, or maybe faster than I realize. It could be like you're 8 months away from retirement, that sort of thing. Maybe not that exactly, but something along those lines, where it's happening quickly. And so it's almost like we've kind of put off this conversation for a long time, and now it seems like time's just kind of speeding up, and it's like, oh shit, we better figure out what we want, and start putting things in place so that we can have the kind of life that we want in this post-career kind of phase. So whatever it is, I think the clock is really starting to speed up for you. And, this could just be this simple realization, I'm in a certain phase in my life, in a certain age range, let's say. But the older I get, the more I kind of feel like I'm aging faster. Like you hit a certain point, maybe in your 30s or 40s, where time seems to speed up now, and it's just suddenly like, okay, 10 years have gone by. I gotta stop and smell the roses, or I gotta start planning so that in a few years I can smell the roses and I can, have the time and the space and the energy to do things and to explore my identity and my complementary kind of energy. So time is speeding up. And the more we kind of linger and procrastinate, the faster time starts to flow. Let's look at this mystery card. I don't want to keep you too long today because time is short, right? We've got to move fast. So let's get into this mystery card here and see what is going on. This is the Five of Pentacles. I wonder if there's something related to the physical, maybe the money, maybe finances or something where this is really what needs to be kind of put into place. Maybe you haven't planned enough for retirement. Maybe there's still a few things that you need to do to really secure everything for your future in a financial sense. Maybe it's just a few more years you pay off the house. Maybe there's just a few more bills to knock out. Maybe there's just a little bit more savings that you need to make. It feels like there's always a little bit more that you need to do before you can kind of relax from this hard work, And whether this is true or just perceived, I don't know. Maybe it's just that's kind of how you keep yourself going, because you think, I can't stop, I can't slow down now because I need to do this next thing. Just once I finish this next project, once I get over this next hurdle, then I can kind of relax. But every time you fix one thing or finish one thing or pay off one thing, it's the next thing. Okay, well, I just need to do that one thing and then I can relax. And again, whether that is real obstacles, real goals and things, or if it's just kind of something that you tell yourself so that you maintain this energy that, okay, I've got to keep working hard. I've got to always put in the extra hours. I've got to just keep going. I don't have time for anything else because I need to do this. Right? I have to do, and that could be an avoidance tactic. Okay, and that's part of what we said at the beginning of we immerse ourselves in our work so that we don't have to deal with everything else right now. And it could be that it's always like, I got to focus on my work right now. And the next moment, okay, I can't do that right now. I got to focus on my work. So it feels like it's an ongoing thing. Anyway, we're going to take a look at this in the extended. If you want to stick around, click on the link that is right up here, and you can have access to all of the extended readings for all of the weekly and monthly videos for all signs. This was your weekly tarot reading for February 5th through 11th on Dove and Serpent Tarot.